It's me again, Margaret. Down here at the camp relaxing a little bit. Ran a couple of 100 rounds down range today. Helping a young man get ready for his first deployment. And this evening, I want to talk about liberals. Now, at one time, I was what you called a moderate Democrat. This was many years ago. Then our liberals infiltrated the Democratic Party. It no longer was the party of the working man. It was pro-union, that believed that people had the right to organize and go on strike for a better quality of life for them and their family, for higher wages, safer working conditions, and the like. Now the Democratic Party is a stronghold for left-end wingnuts. So this evening, I want to talk about some tactics that they use. First of all, when a liberal cannot come up with any other thing, they're going to resort to name calling. They're going to resort to somebody who believes in limited government, as is written in the Constitution, as a racist, homophobic, xenophobic, arachnophobic, and every other phobic they can dream up. I'm not racist, and I'm not really scared of much in this world. On to that. Another tactic that's used by the liberal left-wing nuts is they want to confuse historical facts. For instance, one liberal tried to convince me that Ronald Reagan had signed the Brady Bill into effect right after he had been shot. That didn't happen. That was Slick Willie, Bill Clinton, that signed that into effect at the bequest of his wife. Now, I don't have anything against Bill Clinton. I think the guy would be great to have around a campfire, get him a few drinks in him, and I bet he'd have he'd be a fun guy to have around. We get him a little of good Tennessee whiskey in him, and you know Bill Clinton's going to be, hey, guys, let me tell you about this one, let me tell you about that one. Hey, I tell you what, y'all need something? Let me make a phone call, I'll get some girls down here for it. Now, I will say this about Slick Willie. His taste in women left something to be desired in my book. Of course, you have to understand what he's married to. The man was no JFK. People want to knock Donald Trump. Hey, at least Donald Trump's women are good looking. Do I really care how many he's had on the side? No, it's none of my damn business. Am I worried about how many wives he's had? Not really. You know, the one people, particularly your liberals, love to point out, FDR. Well, prior to the man being president and other political offices he had held, he had got caught screwing around with his secretary. At that time, for a politician up and coming to get divorced because of philandering was scandalous. So his wife agreed to stay married to him. And ironically, when he died in Georgia, it wasn't his wife that was with him, it was his girlfriend. How about that for a history lesson? Another trick liberals love to pull is that they want people to feel like they are intellectually superior to them. Yes, you went to college, you've got a degree, and what have you done with it? Oh, you didn't get a degree? But damn, you were there for 12 years. What were you doing? Smoking dope? Oh, hell, that must have been some good stuff. Had a liberal some years ago. Kept wanting to attack just about every point that I thought of. This was 5 or 6 years ago. He felt like he was intellectually superior to me. Well, damn, he'd been going to college 15 years on mommy and daddy's dime, and I still think to this day he's never finished. Liberals love a double standard. It is okay for me, but not for thee. Again, looking at the political arena, they point out that Donald Trump's current wife had posed in some very revealing pictures. I don't hold that against her. I have seen some of these pictures, and no offense to anybody, I rather enjoyed looking at them. I mean, you know, I'm an admirer of the female form. By the same token, they said, well, if you're such a good Christian, you would love everybody. Yeah, but I'm not going to let somebody behead me. I'm sorry, there's some things I draw the line on. No. So liberals love that double standard. You know, it's interesting. They think, well, we ought to do this and we ought to do that. Wait a minute. When you're saying we ought to do this, what you're saying is you want somebody to do this for you. Not, we are going to do this. A liberal loves to make noise and hold the sign while everybody else does the work. that really screwed up to me. A liberal also loves to claim that conservatives or anybody that doesn't agree with their point of view is intolerant. They say, well, we ought to have a conversation about this and about that. Well, let me explain this. A conversation is two ways of communicating. Somebody communicates a message, somebody else receives a message. They then communicate a reply to that message. Agree or disagree. A liberal does not want that. A liberal wants a forum to sit down and lecture you on how they think things ought to be according to them. Really. That's kind of like the old adage, hey, before you tell me how to do my job, maybe you ought to know something about it. A liberal tries to tell you they're tolerant, and they're really some of the most intolerant people. And when they run out of things to say, they revert to name calling. They say, I can't believe you would. Oh, yeah. I hate to tell you this, you're fixing to get insulted. You're going to be offended. Guess what happens when you're offended? Not a damn thing. It's interesting when liberals get offended, because that's like a free shot. Because you know all they're going to do is yell and scream. You can walk off. It's not like they've got the balls to knock the shit out of you. Another favorite tactic of liberals is they hide behind children, saying, oh, we're going to do this to make the children's world safer. Really? How? By making them more ignorant? Oh, we're offended by this part of history, so we're not going to teach it. Really? So they can repeat it? Makes no sense to me. Another interesting thing about a liberal, they love to put their 2 cents in until it's time to get something done. Then you can't find them. Another interesting thing about a liberal, they claim to be, many of them claim to be environmentalists. Oh, let's save the whales. Let's save the hippopotamuses. Let's save the elephant. That's very interesting. How many of them have you saved? Have you got them hidden in your basement somewhere? Oh, we need to have a fundraiser for this. Wait a minute. That means you're trying to pay for something out of somebody else's pocket that you're probably not going to end up spending the money on anything that you actually wanted to do. So they claim to be environmentalists. Well, here's the truth of the matter. Environmentalists don't do anything to help the environment, except maybe when they die, provide some fertilizer. That's it. Who actually contributes to the fabric of this country? Working class people who are tired of being called names. The guys that protect our children and ladies, That's generally law enforcement, and those are generally good people trying to do a difficult job the best way they can. The guys that actually work to make sure that we have wildlife and outdoor opportunities to pass down to the next generation, those are generally your hunters, fishermen, sportsmen. How do they contribute to this stuff? Buying hunting and fishing license, supporting groups like the NRA, Ducks Unlimited, National Wild Turkey National Wild Turkey Federation, excuse me. The reason I made this video is because I'm really sick and tired of people that throw tantrums because they don't get things their way. Yes, I'm going to keep my guns. That means all of them. Yes, that means I want my tax dollars spent and not wasted. That means I'm not going to give 1 inch whenever you throw a temper tantrum and call me names. If you had the balls to say some of these things that I've seen posted on the internet to my face, I would assure you I could change your mind real quick. These are tactics that liberals love to use. And this is a guy that's had enough of them. Later on.